Hi, I'm Gail Wolfenden-Steep, and I'm doing the costume design on Boeing-Boeing. And first, to start off, we've got some of our research going on. Boeing-Boeing obviously has an airplane connection. We have 3 stewardesses in the show. The show has been set in the mid-60s and a little bit towards the 70s. We're taking some artistic liberties with some of the uniforms. For example, for the Lufthansa, we've got some nice little research on what they were wearing. It's their overcoat look. And I found this really lovely picture with the gal going up into the plane with her boots, and her uniform is visible underneath. And we sort of extrapolated that look into the look we're using for the show. The next gal is from TWA. And we were lucky. I found a very, very nice gentleman online who happens to collect vintage uniforms and was nice and sent me some pictures of the stuff in his collection. We're sort of altering it a little bit to make it a little sexier because since the play is a bit of a sex farce, we need to have a little bit hotter uniform than you might have actually seen. A lot of the skirt lengths are just up above the knee, which may not have exactly been in period, but it works for what we're doing, and there's a uniformity across the line with all the uniforms with where we've changed things. We've added a little bit more color. You can see, well, it's upside down, but we've got some notes. These are actually Cece's notes on how to cut and what we were doing with changes. Rather than render the show, it was basically pulled together images to give a feeling of what's going to happen, because obviously it's going to have to look like the uniform to work. And then when you go over here to Lufthansa, this is the one you'll see the biggest change on, because there's a lot of blue in the set, and there's a whole lot of blue in the uniforms, and it was just getting a little bit boring, so we took some artistic liberties. Lufthansa's colors are actually a really lovely yellow and navy in the contemporary uniforms, and what we did is we decided to take their colors and run a little bit different. So rather than having blue, we've gone to a yellow uniform, which is in pieces over here. So we've gone from either the light aqua or the dark navy to get away from the TWA uniform into the screaming yellow, which looks absolutely fabulous on the actress. We also decided, rather than use the traditional cut for the 65 to 70 era uniform, we swiped the jacket off the earlier style uniform, because Shannon, who's playing it, is very voluptuous, and that cut looks really fabulous on her, and it really does make her look quite hot, for lack of a better word. So that's for the stewardess looks. Then going back in and doing more research, of course, in the time period you saw a lot of the baby dolls, so this is just general research and images that I found of period negligees, and it's just some fun stuff that was out there. And then I went shopping on eBay, because eBay is your friend. The TWA uniform is in pieces again. This is actually the coat. I think that's the coat back, having just picked up the pile, sleeve. After we made it, we discovered that we needed to do some changes on it, so it's back in pieces, and they're going to flatline it to give it a little bit more structure, which, flatlining. Flatlining is when we go ahead and we take a piece of fabric and we actually attach it to the fashion fabric to give it a little bit extra body. You can see this is the yellow. It's all that lovely polyester double knit evil stuff that was so popular in the period. But it's got a lot more body than this super duper drapey. So by adding that flatlining, we're giving it a little bit more body. It's going to wear better and hopefully not self-destruct with all the action going on in the show. And this one's just been through a fitting, hence all the pin marks, so we know where we need to take in, where we need to move and change arm size, lap over for finished, and things like that. Another good thing about this show is because so much of it is pulled, again, I did the same research with the gentleman. I went out and I found images and presented them to Robbie. and we agreed on silhouettes. There's certain silhouettes that are very 60s, and that's basically what we went with, but we had to find things also that they can do movement in and abuse just a bit. Hopefully this suit is not abused. This is Bernard's suit. This is, again, what happens when you shop online. This was a $2,000 suit that I found for $258, and it looks phenomenal on Dion, the actor playing Bernard. And since his character needs to look that way, that's where we spent a big chunk of the budget, was on the suit, because it's important. Robert, on the other hand, played by Pasha, he's a little bit more tweedy. He's not quite so chic and debonair. He's much more kind of a there guy. So he's ended up in this wonderfully fabulous suit that is vintage 60s, as opposed to the contemporary suit that's cut in the vintage 60s style. The other thing that we have is, again, I mentioned there's a lot of movement in the show. Pasha is well padded, because as Robert, he's doing a lot of rolling about and dropping to his knees and falling on his hips and whatnot. So he actually has padding that pads the back of his spine. He has a shirt that pads the back of his shoulders and the back of his neck. And he has his little bike shorts that pad his hips and, there we go, gotta get it right, hips and his tailbone, so he doesn't injure himself doing the pratfalls that he's doing. Because we don't want to break actors. It's very bad when you break actors. The other things we've got on the rack. So you saw the research for the girls. This would be Miss Shannon's negligee. She's playing Gretchen, our German stewardess. And we also managed to find a very lovely set for Heather. And it's amazing what you can find on eBay. It's a wonderful place. And that's about, oh wait, and the world's most fabulous hat for Heather as the stewardess was found again on eBay. But that's basically it in a nutshell.
Margie Bell, and I run the costume shop at Phoenix Theater. And just to give a little extra input on the modifications we need to do on costumes that don't have to do with design, but have to do with construction and the way that things are made, I'll give you one little insight. Part of what Gail said about all the padding that we put into the Robert character undergarment so that he'll be padded, we also have to make accommodations for the girls so that they can do the physical movements that the show requires. And a simple thing that we need to do is, here's an example of a very straight skirt that the girls need to be able to have more movement. So we can't have this back seam sewn shut all the way down. Often on a straight skirt you have a little pleat that moves a little bit, but what we do is we have a pleat. Now this is a really long one that I use on bigger skirts that come down further. Because this is a short skirt, I'll be cutting this down shorter, but this accordion pleat will be made out of this fabric and set into here so that when she needs to move, the skirt will actually be able to open up like this rather than being tight and constricting. Because this particular show, these girls are standing on the couch and rolling on the beanbag chair, and there's a lot of things that they need to be able to do. And this skirt would hobble their knees together and they wouldn't be able to do that physicality that the choreography and blocking requires.